All right, so tell the people your name, what school you went to, major, job description, and location.
I'm Matt. I went to Purdue University, Boiler Up. I have my bachelor's in computer engineering, and currently I'm working for General Motors in Detroit, Michigan, and I'm a software engineer.
All right, so why did you choose computer engineering out of all of the engineering majors? What made you pick computer?
Yeah, so this goes back to my freshman year of high school, actually. So I joined my robotics team at my high school when I was a freshman, and they needed some programmers on their team, and I said I just volunteered to do it. I had no idea what I was getting into, but ever since then, really, I've liked coding. I've enjoyed working with computers, and I've just stuck with it. So I was on robotics for all 4 years, and that continued into college where I studied computer engineering, and here I am now.
All right, so what would you say is the most beneficial thing to being a computer engineer? Like, what's some legit benefits that you'll say after being in the field, being in corporate, being in the classroom? What's some benefits that you got?
Yeah, so I think the biggest benefit of being a computer engineer is you get to see the whole system of how a computer works. So it's not just like you're writing software, right? You have to write code, that's part of it. But a big part of it is actually the hardware that goes into it. So we learned about how the actual hardware works and how it operates and things like that. So we kind of know how the whole system comes together to write better software. So I think it's a big help for my job being a software engineer, because when I'm writing my software, I can think about how this would perform on the certain hardware I'm writing for. So if the hardware I'm writing on has a certain type of cache or has a certain number of CPU cores, things of that, how many cycles certain operations take, you can write better, more efficient software like that. So I think that's a really big benefit of learning and becoming a computer engineer.
All right, so what's some things that you did not expect jumping into being a computer engineer? What's some stuff that you didn't have a clue that you was going to jump into, going all the way back from school, all the way up into being into corporate?
Yeah, so something I didn't expect when I was first coming in was when I first got to Purdue, I didn't realize how much hardware I would actually be learning for this, because up until that point in high school, it was mostly just programming, not a lot of consideration for hardware, right? But when I got to Purdue, I had to take a lot of electrical engineering classes as well. So I took circuits classes, linear and nonlinear circuits. I took digital design classes, microcontroller classes where we connected things like servos, motor controllers, things like that. So really just the amount of hardware I would have to learn on top of the amount of the software aspect of computer engineering. So that was something I wasn't really entirely expecting when I was first coming into Purdue as a freshman.
All right, so what's some things that you would just throw out now that you completed your entire computer engineering curriculum? Decide what's the difference between computer engineering and computer science, because that's like a big question that people always ask coming into actually picking a major between the two.
Yeah, so going back to what I mentioned for what I didn't expect coming in, so for computer engineering, you're going to have to learn a lot about the hardware aspect of things. So you'll do some light electrical engineering classes like I talked about, but a lot of the hardware is digital design, digital hardware. For example, I had a big lab my senior year where we designed our own dual-core processors. And so that was using a coding language called System Verilog, which not many computer science majors use. It's for hardware design. It's an actual software, but it designs hardware. And so, like I was getting to earlier, you have to think about things from a hardware point of view. So if you wanted to do only like coding or majority coding, I would say that would be more computer science. Like you'll get into a lot more higher level languages like Python, Java, C++, things like that. Computer engineering, some of it is that. A lot of it is the hardware, like I said, but you're also working a lot with lower level languages such as C. I even had to code an assembly for one of my classes. And so yeah, that's the kind of difference there. And if I were to explain what a computer engineering type system would look like, I would say I'll go to my senior design project I had at Purdue, which was creating an electric mechanical wheelchair arm mount for children with disabilities. It would just be mounted on their side with a wheelchair arm, and it could move in front of them. It could hold things to display for them. It could it was just a versatile tool that they could use. And the goal was to make it self-operated, because normally that's a type of tool like that had to be, an assistant would have to configure it for them. But the goal was to pre-program in different specified angles and distances away from the child, so that they could make better use of it, and they could pull it up themselves or push it back down whenever they wanted from just a push of a button. And so what that required was, it required us using an Arduino microcontroller and programming it to actually control this arm. So that's more of the software side of computer engineering I was talking about. And then as far as a more hardware approach for that is, it was battery powered, and we used servos as kind of the electrical mechanical component. And so there was a lot of power calculation that went into it to determine what battery we needed to actually power the arms and to give the current that was required for all the servos to run, because servos are very high power, high current consuming devices. And so we had to account for all of that in the design as well, on top of the software. So I think that's really encompassed an entire computer engineering project, because we included both software and hardware components in the design.
All right, so what's something that you will want to, maybe somebody's watching this video and they aren't really sure if they should get into being a computer engineer, or something that, looking back in your past from when you were probably like a freshman going into computer engineering, what's something that you will want them to know going into it,
Yeah, so one thing I would say is something that's unique about computer science and computer engineering, especially for programming, is that there's a lot of resources and tools outside of the classroom to help you with it. There's a lot of online tutorials for software and different programming languages that you can take advantage of, as well as different extracurricular activities that you might have at your high school. So let's say if you're in high school, right? I think I was kind of lucky that I had a lot of computer science related courses I could take in high school, computer engineering, computer science related courses. I think all 4 years of high school, I took some type of programming course. But one thing that a lot of schools offer is some extracurricular activities you can do that gain you experience. So for example, I talked about robotics. So I think that was a really big help to me. I did it for 4 years on the programming team, all 4 years. And it was just kind of learning to program a robot. And we went to different competitions. It was a lot of fun. I grew up in Maryland on the East Coast. And so we got to go to New York for competitions, things like that. Even my senior year, we made the world championship, and we got to go to St. Louis, which was a lot of fun. We got 4 days off of school because it was a week-long competition. So we got to go out there for 4 weeks. It built a lot of bonds between us. So I think could be helpful there. Another thing I'd say is, so let's say you're out of high school, right, and you did mechanical engineering or some other major that wasn't computer science or computer engineering, you can still work as a software engineer, work with programming things. For one, I know a lot of mechanical engineers use MATLAB and some things like Simulink, which they learn that in school, and you can translate that to the workforce pretty easily. You can link a GitHub account, basically any code repository to those online applications. And then those companies will look at your work, and if it's good, it doesn't really matter that you're mechanical engineering as a major. You can still get a job at those companies if you write good software. So I think that's something that people should know.
And that concludes this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. It really do help my channel when it comes down to the YouTube algorithm. If you guys have any questions regarding anything, just hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on the gram at DreThePlug123. And then also go check out my other YouTube channel. This is actually my second channel. My first one was called Andre ClassicCuts. I basically go in and give tutorials about all types of different haircuts. I actually show people how to do different type of things with the clippers that has never been done. And I pretty much go into detail as to why certain things happen. So definitely go check out that channel. Besides that, be on the lookout for my next content that's dropping. Be on the lookout for it because it's coming real soon. And I'm out.